So all of us, all three of us, must have worked with directors who are not very expressive as actors, whose brief is not what you. He was very good with at least telling us this is what he wants, and this is the percentage he wants. No, maybe you can cut this, maybe you can bring this. What happens when you work with directors who are not, who are very good directors, but not necessarily good with actors, do not know how to draw emotions, how to draw feelings? What do you depend on then? अब ये मत बोलना कि मैंने ऐसे डायरेक्टर के साथ काम नहीं किया.
No, I was going to say quite the opposite. It's not often that happens, but it happens.
It happens, of course.
Like in Devdi, Anurag didn't direct me at all. He didn't say anything. Like he just let me be. But then there was an idea that I'd come up with and a character I knew. So it wasn't even like I was asking him. And I think he allowing me to do my thing and not saying anything in terms of as a director to an actor encouraged me to think, okay, so what I'm doing must be right. And I continued doing that.
I have
and he
a
was
question
happy.
in between for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes a director thinks the form is much more important than the
Yes,
actor.
there are those directors too. Yes.
There was a very famous art house director who said कि मैं actors को furniture की तरह इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, मैं किसी से भी acting करवा सकता हूँ.
Yeah.
In the other room, I'll tell you the name of the director.
Okay.
I never worked with him.
Hanji.
So,
And what you were saying earlier, that I would rather a director inspire me than just be like, "Arey yaar, why don't you get it out?" Like, then get stressed.
Yeah.
Or like shout at the actor. Like there are very famous directors who are well known to break the actor. You know,
Yes.
physically, emotionally, because they feel that if I break you, I get a real clean, honest performance out of you. I think those directors have a handicap because there are directors like him who will not break you and will be very patient and will speak you through it. And you realize in his grace, he's inspiring you. In his directions, he believes in you. And that kind of director is a very healthy director to work with because you come back learning something. And the other director who will break you and get a performance out of you, no doubt, but he clearly can't inspire you. And he has the arrogance to think that he's some maestro, he or she, that breaking you has, because you couldn't be capable of performing had you not been broken, which is entirely untrue. You don't have to be broken to perform. And don't ever let anybody teach you that. If you find yourself there, then just live through it, because most of these directors are very big and you can't say anything. And it's so easy to manipulate them, just pretend like you're broken. You know,
I used to do.
Seriously, yeah, they're not worth it.
What about you, Rashi? How will you? Have you experienced something like this where the director is very good in his craft and the writing is very good, but he is not able to tell you what he is not very communicative or he is not capable of? What do you do then?
Though I have not done a lot of work, I have done very little work, and independent cinema I have done, and couple of them have really inspired me, but couple of them really broke me, you know. And as Abhay likely said, that you know, it's very difficult if you don't have a director who break you but don't inspire you, who don't understand the process to get you back also, like okay, you know. So it was a really tough time for a couple of, I won't be able to name the projects, but it was very difficult for me to come back because, and when you don't have a sensitive team, like you are portraying a scene or something and you're into tears after that. And then everyone is like, why is she crying? Like, oh, why is she quiet? Like, okay, come on, like you have to move for the next scene. And you're like, it's just, I just need one, like just give me 30 seconds to breathe because I've just finished something. But a lot of people don't understand that kind of a space where you're like, they look at you like, okay, means like, hello, get up and you know, move.
Yeah.
So I think that sensitivity is very less in our industry. Like there are people, I'm glad, but there are many people, maybe one of them will have that kind of a thing, but other may not have. You know, that the cameraman will come and like, you know, you're preparing and the camera, arey light lay yahan pe, and then someone will come and dab you this thing. So it's very, you know, it's not just a one department in our industry. We have to have every department sensitive. If they don't understand,
sorry.
Yeah. If they don't understand that, you know, what we actors are going through, how vulnerable we are when we are performing, and if they don't give us the comfort, or they don't, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, just spoon feed us or do everything, but just a comfort, a basic comfort, कि हम prepare करें, हम scene करने वाले हैं, आप ये मत करिए, अच्छा हाँ अपनी आप यहाँ पे करिए, अरे, so the whole manhandling which happens on set is very, like, you know, I feel I can't work on such sets now. I can't work on where, you know, screaming, shouting happening, and, you know, people are not focused. Nobody knows what script is. मतलब कितनी बार होता है कि साउंड वाले को पता ही नहीं होता है क्या सीन क्या है.
So आप मतलब 80s में और 90s में तो बिल्कुल काम नहीं कर सकते. मैंने 38 सालों में 534 फिल्में की हैं. और 534 में से मुझे स्क्रिप्ट सिर्फ 50 का मिला होगा. बाकी सारी फिल्में, and yet I am, with all my respect, and actually they have made great films. कई बार तो ऐसा होता था कि राइटर सुबह सुबह लेके आता था सीन और बोलता था ताज़ा ताज़ा लिख के लाया हूँ.
मैंने ये देखा है बचपन में on set where I used to go.
ताज़ा ताज़ा लिख के लाया हूँ. कई बार माचिस के अपना सिगरेट के पैकेट के पीछे डायलॉग लिख के आते थे. So you are lucky to be working.
But Anurag also did the same thing. उसने ऐसे एक minute में.
But he's also a writer.
Yeah,
so he can probably come up with something.
हाँ, तो उस सिचुएशन में ऐसे इनकी बहुत सारी सिचुएशन आएंगी, especially as a newcomer. What you?
But I feel थोड़ा change तो होना चाहिए.
100%. But suppose some role is given to you.
He means you're lucky.
Suppose some role is given to you. I think you, out of choice, did not do those films. But I was on the streets for 3 years, and I needed work. I did not have the luxury of choosing. Today's generation of actors have a great choice. And कुछ चाहिए? And that includes some great actors. Means Mr. Bachchan has done the maximum amount of work, which is in real life totally unbelievable. But he is doing with so much of conviction, and this is what I always speak to people abroad, that Indian cinema is larger than life. We do the most unbelievable things with so much of conviction that 1.4 billion people believe us. Nowhere in the world actors are revered the way they are revered here. We are part of their life. Will you do a comedy, which I'm sure you are, but or do a role which is not up to your sensitivity, but it's an interesting role?
Yeah, of course.
You will do that.
Yeah.
And you do not, and it makes you do things which are not aesthetically, something which are not, which you don't believe in as a person.
See, I don't judge my characters, but I cannot get into a derogatory way. I don't want that it is written in a certain way or portrayed in a certain way which is derogatory. If it's aesthetically better, then I don't mind. But it has to be, you know, like kept all the boxes. Okay, we are not. See, honestly, I'll tell you, sir. I come from a small town.
Which is
Aurangabad.
All right.
तो मैं जब यहाँ पहली बार आई तो initially I had no choice. तो theatre भी
Are you a trained actress?
Yes, sir. I am trained.
From?
I studied in Whistling Woods.
Okay.
So I came. So there's a journey. I from Aurangabad मैं पूना में पढ़ने के लिए आई थी. फिर मैं वहाँ पे I worked in advertising for many years to support my education, and then I quit one fine day because the joy was always theatre. And I didn't want to go to FTI because I wanted to leave Pune. So there was एक होता है ना कि आप एक जगह से आप निकलना चाहते हो तो हम निकल गए. and Bombay आ गई मैं. So Bombay, I was not knowing anyone. So whatever saved money I had, Whistling Woods was the first option, which everyone was telling me, and I got a little this thing also, and I joined there. But that gave me a lot of confidence. And when I came out from the Whistling Woods, of course, I joined Nasir sir's Motley, because I studied under Nasir sir and Rob Rees from Actors Studio. So theatre gave me a lot of space. I started traveling. I started volunteering for a lot of social causes. So that became my life. बट वही है कि चांसेस चॉइसेस तो ऐसा आपको मिल नहीं सकते, क्योंकि आप किसी को भी नहीं जानते हो यहाँ पर. आपको ऑडिशन के रेस में तो रहना ही पड़ता है. सो आई यूज्ड टू ऑडिशन एंड बट कुछ नहीं होता था. व्हाटएवर लिटिल वर्क आई यूज्ड टू गेट, कि कभी एक सीन कर लिया, बट social work gave me a lot of space at that time. I started working in villages, and the choices also became like that. The literature opened up, the world cinema opened up, and social work gave me a very different kind of a base for me, ki okay, what kind of work I would like to do. That doesn't mean that I have not done bad work. I've done one scene here, यहाँ पे कर लिया, कभी सीरियल में कुछ काम कर लिया, कभी कुछ कर लिया, just to little bit whatever support I had. पर Angry Indian Goddesses जब मुझे मिला, it was 2013-14.
Which one?
Angry Indian Goddesses,
yes.
Which was in Toronto Film Festival, which opened in Toronto. Pan Nalin, जिनकी अभी फिल्म ऑस्कर में भी है. तो उनकी फिल्म जब मुझे मिली, I met दिलीप शंकर, who's again my mentor only. So he taught me acting with a very spiritual way. कि आप एक किरदार में जब कैसे घुसते हो और आप उससे बाहर कैसे आते हो. तो that whole process of, and I've learned that, how beautifully Nalin and Dilip Shankar handle actors on set. How beautifully the team, our DOP, everyone was understood what we all were doing, they were giving us space, but they were, handling all of us so emotionally very well. तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि ये set होता है. Though I have worked छोटा-मोटा यहाँ ना, जहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ लगा नहीं कि यहाँ पे कोई respect मिलती होगी किसी को. And it's just a star will come and that person will only get respect. Rest is like, अरे क्या कर रहे हो यार यहाँ पे. So I learned the respect and love for cinema through with Angry Indian Goddesses. वहाँ से थोड़ा सा फिर journey शुरू हुई. And then choices बहुत कम मिलते थे. But then my social work started. So I adopted one village where I worked on water and everything. So I started spending more time in my villages, working for farmers of Marathwada. And फिर एक छोटा मोटा फिर दुर्गा मिला, फिर कहीं मंटो मिला, फिर सेक्रेड गेम्स मिला, फिर मैं एक स्कूल बनाने चली गई. स्कूल बनाई तो मैंने अब तक 3 स्कूल बनाए गांव में. तो फिर मैं वहाँ पे ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करने लगी, बिकॉज आई फील कि मैं जिन कहानियों को दिखा रही हूँ ऑन स्क्रीन, जैसे दुर्गा हो या लक्ष्मी हो फ्रॉम गॉडेसेस, इज स्टिल सफरिंग ऑन ग्राउंड. एंड आई डोंट नो, दिस समथिंग शिफ्टेड इन मी कि काम होता रहेगा, पर अगर मैं ऑन ग्राउंड एक्शन नहीं करूँगी, अगर लोगों की ज़िंदगी मुझे सिर्फ मैं सिनेमा से नहीं बदल सकती हूँ, मुझे उसके लिए काम करना ही पड़ेगा. बिकॉज आई कम फ्रॉम अ फार्मर्स बैकग्राउंड, माई फादर वॉज अ फार्मर. तो वो शिफ्ट हुआ एंड द चॉइसेस ऑल्सो बिकेम लाइक दैट. एंड सो दैट डजंट मीन दैट आई डिडंट टुक बोल्ड decision. I took bold decision because I believe कि as an actor I want to explore in every spaces.
ये सब नए हैं और ये अभी 3 महीना कोर्स करके बाहर निकलेंगे. और सबसे बड़ा होता है कि मैंने 15 ऑडिशन दे दिए, 200 ऑडिशन दे दिए, काम क्यों नहीं मिल रहा, क्या लक ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है या मेहनत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. आई डोंट लाइक टू टेल अबाउट व्हाट आई वेंट थ्रू being a gold medalist from a drama school for 3 years, sleeping on the railway platforms, etc., etc. But and I think I belong to this generation also. But there's an impatience that mera kuch ho kyun nahi raha. So what is your advice for people who are just going to get out of this school apart from auditioning, how should they conduct? You've gone through your own ups and downs of life. So that's why advice from, because you've experienced it yourself, will mean a lot to them.
I've been on all sides of the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
One is, take auditions as an opportunity to just explore and expand your own craft. Yeah. There will be many auditions. Instead of seeing like, oh, ye nahi mila, ye milega ke nahi, ab ye bhi nahi mila, wo bhi nahi mila. Instead of looking at it that way, look at it as though more and more opportunities to continue improving yourself. Then there's that case of you actually might do a really good audition, but you still don't get it. I think take out right and wrong from your vocabulary. There's no rights, there's no wrongs. At the same time, I had a very idealistic view of the world. Like I wanted my ideals to be that which manifest and guide me, and experiences I have are within that scope. It's not an ideal world. So instead of fighting that fact and feeling sorry for yourself or fighting back and getting angry, you just have to accept it and see what kind of a world is it that we live in. Because you'll be more disappointed if idealistic, but you won't be disappointed if you're just open to see, okay, what is it that this world is made of? As an actor, I think it's very easy to fall into this sort of victim mentality, like, oh, so-and-so got it because of this and this reason, or I'm from this background and so I have it harder than that person who's from that background. When you start comparing yourself to others, even if what you're saying is true, it's not going to help you. It just isn't. I hope acting is the space for you. I hope acting is the career that will be yours. But it doesn't happen for everyone. And that may be because you're not cut out for it. That also may be that you're brilliantly talented, but you still don't. I thought that if you're talented, definitely you'd make it. And you realize acting talent alone doesn't give you success. And there'll be many people out there who have all the talent in the world, but get nowhere. Because we live in a world which is not just delivering your performance, it's how you conduct yourself, it's who you meet, it's how you adjust within this world of filmmaking, and what are you willing to do, what are you willing not to do. And so it's not an easy place to be. So if it doesn't work out for you, don't judge yourself. You know, it could be that you didn't have the talent. That doesn't mean you don't have talent. It just means your talents lie somewhere else. But you're so stuck on acting that you're not looking at where your talents actually lie. It could be that you have talent for acting, but you don't have the talent to cut it in this industry and the way it functions and the way people function and the systemic structures we have in position. Does that mean you should give up? Well, if you can't adjust to the system and it's constantly triggering you, then maybe you should choose something else, even though you have the talent. So you see what I'm trying to get at? Yeah. It's removing, because I suffered a lot, this is right and that is wrong. I suffered a lot, you know, with those sort of principles, and I realized taking that out helped me a lot. And then doing my best, seeing what are the advantages I have around me and focusing only on the positives. And it's weird, I know a lot of books are written about manifestation and where your focus is and all that stuff, but it's kind of true. It is, because there's a lot of negatives that you can focus on.
Yeah.
And they're there, they're fact, they're true, and it's sometimes hard to find the positives, but when you focus on the positives, give it some time and you'll see certain things around you just falling into place. They just do. Patience is a very big thing to have.